Hi, it's Melvin from Melvin Bytes, and today we're going to be talking about phishing, the impacts of phishing, some stats around some of the growth factors that seeing more companies adopt phishing training and security awareness training as a whole. And I'm also going to be speaking to a special guest today, Dan Thornton from Goldfish. So welcome, Dan. Please tell us a little bit about Goldfish and some of the unique selling points that your company has in the market.
Goldfish is a cybersecurity awareness training company, and we focus on trying to get some of the best, sort of most engaging training content to the end users so that businesses can use the training, use the phishing simulations that we've got to really help drive awareness campaigns and build more secure cultures in their organizations to ultimately reduce their risk to social engineering attacks. And different ways that people are going after the employees nowadays.
Thanks for sharing, Dan. So tell me, what are the top 3 training courses that people tend to enroll in more than most?
I'd say the 3 most popular modules, and the modules that we're currently constantly focusing on to keep up to date and keep relevant would be our phishing module. Really teaching end users all about the problem, how to identify the different threats, where to look, what to do. Then we've also got a really good business email compromise module, which is really aimed at the executives, the finance department, the procurement departments, to really help them navigate that new threat that's emerged on the market and a lot of businesses are losing out to. And then passwords is a huge one for us as well. We've got a really comprehensive password module where, the best practice coming out of the industry is constantly changing. Every year, the industry best practice for passwords and what we're recommending for passwords and authorization is constantly changing. And so that's a really popular one as well, and such a critical element for training employees. And it's just, it's quite clear that phishing isn't everything. If employees are using weak passwords or they're not using multi-factor authentication, there's huge risks there as well. So, the education piece is wider than just phishing, for sure.
Oh, great. What would you say is driving the need for security awareness training?
Realization, either through incidents that they've experienced and realized actually how vulnerable their people are, or they have fallen foul to cyber criminals because of perhaps a human factor or a human error. So, once they have that realization and recognize their vulnerability and, require training and trying to build awareness in their organizations, I think it's definitely one of the larger drivers. Or alternatively, having witnessed, somebody within their network or within their industry falling foul and experiencing large loss. I think that's a much stronger driver than regulators or insurers or anything like that.
It's a company-wide problem, would you say?
And raising that awareness and building a secure culture, it kind of brings everybody into the mix instead of the entire organization from the executives down thinking that it's just an IT problem. All of a sudden, there's a very quick realization that they are part of the team, that they are part of the solution to really try and reduce cyber risk in an organization. And it is down to every single person. And with the right training, the right exposure to phishing simulations, they very quickly realize how important their role is in helping the security team and helping the IT team reduce that risk. So building up that culture is really key to do it.
So could you give us some of your best practices around cyber awareness training for a company, and also some tips to improve security awareness training as well?
Practices around training really is communication. We can do all of the phishing simulations. We can launch, the world class content. You can deliver all of these campaigns, but if you're not communicating correctly to the organization, you're not going to get buy-in from them. It's just going to be another, corporate learning campaign that nobody can stand. If the employees, if the staff, if the organization understands the risk that the business is facing, they understand their role in reducing that risk and understand the benefits from the training, it is a lot more successful. And the results we're seeing from those campaigns that are so well communicated, first and foremost, we're seeing much better results from organizations. And the culture growth and the awareness is a lot more successful when it's being communicated properly. And that requires a lot of collaboration within the organization, because predominantly these types of training campaigns are being launched by the IT teams, and they're being launched by the security teams. And very rarely do they talk to their marketing teams and talk to their internal communication teams to bring them into the fold. And, culture is, trying to raise security culture. It's marketing. It's your marketing to your people to help them change their behavior, to try and get them on board. And that communication is everything. So, my top tip would be reach out to the right people in your organization for getting your communication right and building up that culture before you even launch your training, before you even push out your phishing simulations. Get the communication right first, and that'll kick things off beautifully.
We've got best practice, but how do we adopt these? How do you make sure that a company adopts these practices? Can you give us some examples or tips on how this can be done?
And as much as you can make it personal in the training, in the communications, as personal as you can make it, the more successful it's going to be. People will always look after themselves first. They will always make sure that they're doing the right behavior and taking the right choices when it comes down to themselves, their families, and their own data, their own finances. So if you can put it in that context, it really relates a lot better for them. They'll start changing that behavior at home to protect themselves. And then what will ultimately happen is they bring that much improved behavior into the workplace, and everyone's a winner. So instead of putting across the type of training and communication that, you will do this for the company and this is the corporate policy that must be followed, nobody's interested in that. If you can tell them that here's some training to help you and teach your family and keep your kids safe online, that's going to come across a lot better. And people will follow that, and they will change their behaviors, and that'll be better for the business in the long run.
Dan, I've really enjoyed our time today. Thanks ever so much for telling us a little bit about what you guys do at Goldfish and how you help your customers improve cyber awareness training throughout. Thank you.
Much. Have a good day.
Thank you now. Bye now.
Cheers.